Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the reading and the approval of the minutes for our August 15th, 2024 meeting. I need a motion to accept.
I'll make the motion there.
And I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I will make a motion to accept the cash flow statements as presented.
Any second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll make a motion to accept the finance report, the check detail.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
This is just a quick update. We had to close one of our banking checking accounts due to a fraud. Check was stolen out of the recipient's mailbox. And they forged checks on our account, overdrew it. It was reversed back into our account, but we froze it, closed it, and opened up a new account. So that's just a quick update on that.
Again, reaffirming the goodness of humanity.
Yeah, still going.
I had someone putting fishing deposits in my escrow.
Yeah.
Cut that down.
The first check, I guess they put through like 36 or something.
It was, okay, so the check was made out for $8,018. I came in on Monday, my account was overdrawn. So they changed it to 38,000 and then whited out the name and did a mobile deposit to themselves in New Jersey. So yeah, we froze the account right away with National Bank, and then they tried to draw. Yeah, they tried to draw down.
Another one?
They tried to do what tonight?
99,000. It was like 1 cent less of a million. So the account was closed.
Big if you're gonna write.
I made a report with the state police for the Osceola County loans, and since we're, we're collateralized, so we got our money back. They're gonna take over New Jersey, Fidelity. I'll have to do the prosecution or try to research.
Whose mailbox was taken out of, or who's?
It had to be out of Delaware Engineering, because that's who I sent it to. So it was the September 1st checks. I went down to the post office, mailed them all together. Every other made it to their destination. So it had to be on that end. I notified them that the check was stolen.
Okay.
Sign, bottom line, but it's a violation. You know, we like to keep our pennies.
Yeah.
Okay. So National Bank has been great, freezing it and getting our money back and opening up a new account. Okay, so we can just jump right into project updates. Champlain Hudson. In your packet, and I emailed it also out to the board, or a guidelines review. Renee here today to help draft it with the towns for receiving.
I sent this out. We didn't expect everybody to have to look through this thoroughly, so I didn't expect we'd have to take action on this today. But anyway, at this point, drafted a set of guidelines up. I have met with all the communities, on them, reviewed them with the communities, and pretty much nobody had anything much new, different to add. It'll be interesting to see when they all finally start picking projects, but sort of say what it is. The only thing that is not in the guidelines is any kind of enforcement mechanism. Okay, you know, we talked about this before. Obviously my concern is that I feel we are on completely good grounds. You know, that there's plenty of incidents out there of IDAs being authorized to charge fees that are directly tied to mitigation. This was proposed as mitigation, was documented as mitigation, and you know, that's going to be the key thing, is that they do the right thing with it. You know, it's got to be economic development. You can't buy a playground, or you can't replace a bridge out in the middle of the country. You know, one boy, can we replace a bridge? I said, well, if the bridge is going to a new factory, we'll build it on the other side, and we need a bridge, then yes. But you want to build a bridge out in Earlton? No, that's not economic development. So I've left enforcement out for a conversation amongst us as to how we, you know.
I mean, I think the problem with enforcement is then we have to monitor it, and then you have to determine what is enforceable and what is not.
I was planning on sending out letters every year, you know.
Yeah, I mean, a project update,
Yeah.
you know, they can send
How
us.
are you?
That's in here, that's in the guidelines.
Right.
They got the project, they got the project report.
I said, the mechanism of that, and then monitoring that and determine what's enforceable and what's not. I think. it's better than
yeah,
not
I'm
being in that
inclined to
business,
leave it
yeah.
vague as well. I
Yeah.
not only that, 'cause what are we gonna do? Take it back?
Yeah, well, that's why I left it
Money?
vague.
Yeah, no.
too. And I just figured that, you know, if a bus hits me tomorrow, over the next few years, I'm around and I can help use my influence, help guide these guys the right direction. Some of them are already pretty good. They got some good ideas, are solid. New Baltimore is just New Baltimore.
I also think of this as like a pilot program. How well they do with this might set us up in the future if we can ever do it again.
Right.
Right, so anyway, it's all pretty straightforward, you know, the goals are, you know, pretty much your standard goals. But, you know, as far as eligible projects, we broke it down into anything planning and engineering, comprehensive plans, housing plans, anything that's gonna get you ahead on there. Intermunicipal related infrastructure projects, et cetera. And then, of course, infrastructure projects, those are the holy grail. Do a water line, do a sewer line, do something like that. That's like the holy grail of what we need for economic development. A local economic development fund, something like, you know, the county has a micro enterprise. I didn't think anybody would nibble on this, but a couple of the towns have said that might be something they would look into maybe possibly doing. Housing projects, just because again, housing's been such a key thing in here, made it eligible for them that they could do a housing study for their community. We all know, I don't have to explain to you the link between housing and economic development. It's just a solid link. So we did put in there, they want, you create a plan of the type of housing you want, where you want it, and then people can work around that. Will anybody do it? Probably not, but, and then we put down Main Street revitalization, which is your typical, if they want to do sidewalks and streetscapes and things like that.
Can it be, I'm thinking about this because there's a number of communities are thinking about the state's grant programs. Can be used, I thought about it when I read this, can be used as match.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, if anybody's smart, that's what
That's
they'll
what
do,
they
is
would
they'll
do,
double its
right.
money somehow,
Yeah,
you know, and get something matched up. And then, you know, we just, all the ineligible stuff is, you know, no support of the general budget and the levy, no land acquisition unless for the project, no vehicles unless for the eligible project, no in-kind municipal services, if we're not paying your highway guys, and reduction of deficits or retirement debt. So it's all your standard stuff. It's got to go into something new and it generates. And then to kind of control it, what I did have in there is that they would produce a small justification statement for us to put on file why we're doing what we're doing with economic development. And there is some reporting requirements. So we kind of got an eye on it a little bit, but I've been in the same mode as you. And as I've explained it to all of them, as I've met with them, I said, look, we're all adults. We're all trying to do the same thing here. If we can't come to this without any arguments, then, you know, we got a problem, but I think we can get there. So that's where we stand. Everybody's good. That just checks off one thing on our list that we develop guidelines. I'm starting to strongly suspect that we may not see 2026 as the opening date for them. You know, I'm hearing a lot of stuff on the street from guys that are working with Chippy and that they're behind. They don't know what they're doing. One hand doesn't talk to the other. And I'm hearing this from multiple contractors that are working for them and stuff. So whether they make 2026 or it's 2027, I don't know. We have time. When I told all the towns, just mull on it. As long as you're happy, you don't have anything else you've thought of that I haven't included. Everything, they were all like, no, I think we're good. So
Renee, do you know where they are as far as like, even in Greene County, as far as like installations go? I know they've done a lot of prep work, but.
I can tell you from people that I was talking with casually.
Yeah.
Now I don't quite remember, they're on the river part, they're below Saugerties.
Okay.
In what they're doing, but they were, to your point about the delays, I mean, because they can map the progress of what they're doing down there. And they were saying it was taking longer than they thought to go a mile.
yeah.
And so whether they were running into channel issue, you know, what they're finding on the riverbed, but.
Right. Maybe
Because you know, if you watch the staging, because you can see the stage, you know, all the stuff is hanging out, you know, in that Athens kind of area, and I'll tell you, it's going down a lot. It's, but, I don't know where they are in Greene County.
I think they're putting conduits in now, so they're working. They got a whole bunch of machines over here by the old railroad station in Coxsackie this morning, and then I see them in different spots. But
I see
I don't. I think they're doing it in different segments.
Well, they got multiple locations that multiple different time, it's just, it's not like continuous, like from one end to the other.
Yeah, they're not like
Like,
that.
Well,
here,
they're
you're-
also still getting easements
Right.
from certain
Yeah, which is-
landowners.
And they're still having easements they're working on there, Athens Gen and then finally just settled down there because they were gonna go. They were
They
gonna
didn't
go
wanna go
across their
water.
water pipeline like 4 times. Athens said, that's 20-year-old water line, no way in hell.
Yeah.
So, they came up the west side of the tracks instead. Anyway, I'll just, it was probably not gonna make 2026. But we'll worry about that when it comes.
Yeah,
But
especially we're gonna run out of weather here soon, it's gonna be it, because we have bad weather.
So,
Yeah, sorry.
so I don't know if there's any questions on it with the guidelines or anything.
And since we're not in a super rush,
Yeah, we don't have a super
guys
rush,
can
so why don't we,
review it.
we'll just, if everybody would look those over, maybe we could, I'd like to see us just get them adopted and check off the thing.
Like
that's
next
asked
meeting,
us, and
we'll
move
put
on
that
to the
up
next item.
I'll put it back on the agenda next month for approval.
And just last thing, along those lines, we are working right now with the county in New Baltimore to look into water sewer extension up to get up by the thruway, because there's a major, retailer looking at that location.
Yeah.
So that would integrate those funds, so.
Okay, Athens Gen strategic plan, we did set up a meeting with Steve Cole, who is the consultant now. Moving forward with that, looks like probably January, we'll be setting up a meeting with their president on their land base and things like that, to move forward with the strategic plan. Did you want to say the strategic
So I just
plan?
said that, I'm talking with Steve, he's very impressed with the new owners. He says that these new owners are, they will not bankrupt this company. They told, we will not bankrupt. We don't have the money, we will not spend it. They are buying, they just bought another power plant. He is going with the guys today to look at another one that they're looking to buy. So this company is buying up, is buying up power plants. They haven't had a lot of future direction talk yet. Still trying to get their hands around this. So we were trying to get this before I went out for the winter. We were trying to get this meeting, this talk started. But they've asked that they prefer wait till after the first of the year, because I said after the first of the year, there'll be a little more, the company will be more prepared to discuss future thoughts and things like that. So there's enough on our plate, we can go. But the data center consultants are moving forward.
That's our next bullet. So we've started meeting with Hickey Global. There are consultants, they're putting together a report on the viability, feasibility of data centers in Greene County. And Renee gave them 3 possible locations to start looking at. And I've invited Steve Cole from Athens Gen to meet with our next Zoom meeting on the 24th for the data center.
They'll be coming up for a tour of the site. So the 3 sites in order of priority, Athens Gen, package pavement, and number 3 would be like the Woods property up there. And all 3 of them largely driven, well, the power plant largely driven by power, water, a whole bunch of things. But mainly the other 2 sites are also driven by proximity to the thruway to get to that high speed fiber line, that backbone that the thruway has up and down there. Running that too far out, just not.
Up by package pavement, is that on the east or the west side, that line?
I don't know.
It's still close, I guess.
It's
they
still
go
close.
under
I
the
mean,
ridge,
What
yeah.
is package pavement?
It used to be Betco Block up in New Baltimore on the far end.
Right hand side.
Yeah, right there before you go into Ravina.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know, but that's a simple bore to get across.
Yeah, they could, they're directional drill it, yeah, that's true. I just.
And then Athens is probably one of the furthest distances because it's a little bit up there to the thruway.
Yeah.
But there's a spur line that comes across by Black Horse and goes to Connecticut. So that's why we hired the consultants to answer some of these questions. But those are the kind of the 3 sites we thought were primary. Athens Gen clearly is clearly the top, right?
Probably the west side,
I know. And even Steve confirmed yesterday, we have excess water capacity for cooling. They have the power. He
Power
says,
purchase agreement.
he says that the company would, he says, I can't imagine a company would not be interested if we could, if the supply the load was big enough that we could run a turbine 24/7 for them.
On the line direct.
So that's where we're kind of at on that stuff.
Moving on to our shovel ready initiative, the Y-Lot. We received the wetland report from Norbert Windsor. Archaeology data recovery plan is in your packet from Ed Curtin, and Renee's going to start drafting the permit for that.
Yeah, so what we have to do next is I have to get Delaware to basically draw us up a cartoon of a site plan. This is what we're gonna build. It's, you know, and then we build something different later. My intent on that property is to try to avoid the wetlands to the maximum extent possible, just to keep our wetland mitigation costs down on it. There's still probably a good 8 or 9 acres in there, or, yeah, 8 acres, let's say, which is definitely got to do what we're thinking about, a mixed use type of thing. And then we can keep, so we're gonna need, an Army Corps permit, which I think I can do under a nationwide permit. And then we're gonna need a DEC Article 24 freshwater permit for, because we're in the wetland buffer, we won't be in, we have to get into the DEC wetland buffer, because it covers most of that property.
Is it conducive to one big property, or we think you've got to break it up a little bit based on the way that?
You know, I think at this point, I would say we probably try to, because it's only at 8 acres. I think the point would be to try to find a developer that would take the whole 8 acres
Yeah.
in one shot, and then maybe develop it out in phases. You know, if we really want to promote it enough, then maybe what we could do is even, just like we did with, though they never followed up on it, Too Common when they were out there, you know, they only bought a certain amount of acreage, and they were gonna buy the other acreage, which we held for them. So if we had a developer that says, I can only do 4-acre parcel now, we could always say, well, look, we'll have an option for, the option to purchase on the other 4. I don't see doing multi-users in there at this point. I see trying to do it as one single user pad, you know.
If they went, if it was multi-level, like an apartment complex, would that resolve any of the issue, or would it still end up taking up space because of a parking lot? In terms of maximizing the number
Well,
of
obviously, the more
units.
units you go up, the more you're
Yeah.
spreading your parking out, you know, because you're gonna need more parking.
Would you get more density, or would that mitigate because of the?
No, I mean, you could get more, I mean, obviously, that's the one way you get more density is going up on the same footprint, but I don't see anybody going more than like 3 stories anyway. You're not gonna get a real high, you know, kind of high rise type apartment. 3 would probably be the max. And that 8 acres, if we get 8 acres usable, we'll get a lot of housing on 8 acres.
So square footage, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not gonna be single family homes or lots, it's gonna be some kind of
Right.
multi-family, so.
It all comes down to the numbers for the developer.
Yeah.
What the right mix is.
Well, and this is another reason, sort of, it's a balancing act between keeping our expenses down on wetland mitigation versus, you know, because that's all gotta get carried forward on the price of the land. Now, fortunately with that land, you know, that's a zero on our, that land is zeroed out already on our performer for that park. That was never a sellable piece, so literally anything you make on that is gonna be gravy, so. But again, the goal is to try to not make this a very expensive
Right.
get ready. So if we want to get 10 acres ready, it's gonna cost double what it costs to get 8 acres ready, let's say, just because of the wetland mitigation.
So we just have to offset the cost of wetland and archaeology and everything.
Right, now the archaeology, we had done phase 1, phase 2 and all that on the entire property. And then we decided not to do that, develop that piece. So there was no phase 3 ever done on those areas. There is findings in there that have to be recovered. They were never done at the time because again, we weren't gonna develop it. So we jumped right into, our old reports are still good, we jumped right into a data, that's why we had Ed draw up the data recovery plan for me, because that'll have to go with the permit application on that. So if everything goes well, we have permits for next season, and what I would do is I'd get in there and push that road in real fast to get it out of the way.
Any questions on the bylaw? So the other development parcels I'll talk about in executive session, because I'm not under contract yet. The Warren parcel is in the process of closing, right?
Yeah, we have a contract, that we just have to, get signed. So-
Yeah, I looked at the markup back from this is from Michael, and it was kind of.
They accepted our offer, they accepted our offer, and then we were able to apply the.
Yeah.
So it's 500,000 asking price or offered price, and then minus the 41,000.
What was their answer?
Well, they had it up at one point at 3 million, and they
Yeah.
dropped it down to 1.8.
Good job. Great negotiating.
Well,
Time was our friend,
Negotiated.
yeah.
we had to call so we had an appraisal done on the other properties, and that one was listed as one of the comps. And it was down as a listed property, not sold. And it had it down, they had it down to 3 million there, because I was the old ass price when we researched it. I called them up, I told Ray, call the appraiser, he needs to know that we just signed a contract with us at this price. This
They had it comped out at 3 as well?
they had it comped out at 3.8. And so here you got all these other properties that are worth
Pretty
like
wet.
5 or 6,000 an acre, and then all of a sudden you got one that's worth 38,000 an acre. Now that's gotta come off the list, because that's what these fucking pipe dreams around here, about what the land is. So they asked, hey, well, why the hell did you so cheap when they wanted that?
That's what it's worth. So it's
Yeah,
only worth
we
what
did talk
somebody's
about
willing to pay.
Then what do you
That it's
think?
been on the market for 20 years.
Do we have a resolution approving the execution and delivery of the contract? I think we should file.
For the warrant parcel, did we approve that?
I
last
thought we
meeting?
did that.
Yeah,
Two meetings ago.
okay, just wanna make sure that you do.
Then we had a little, looking into on billboards, and that
It
was
was the meeting
the
before.
issue, there's no.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back out there and look closer, because there's a possibility that they might just be over the line, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, the survey
It shows up
Oh,
on the
yeah.
survey, on the survey.
The update was about,
That they took
they
it off.
took our offer, but I thought
The meeting.
we authorized
could
you going
restate it if you
to.
want.
I think,
Sign
let's-
the-
I think what we should do is just have a
They could-
resolution of the board approving the execution delivery of a real property sale agreement for the Brown/Warren parcel. Dated September 2024 for a purchase price of $441,000, subject to the contingencies in the agreement.
I'll make that motion.
So I need a second on that.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So then my next update is, I met with the county, I met with James and Terry with Ben Fane. He has bought, was it 10 different parcels on Main Street in Catskill over the years. It was, he bought the corner building right across from the courthouse right before COVID. And he wanted to build,
Hotel, yeah.
the hotel, Mr. Cat. So, it's back on track. He's trying to get financing in order. The performance does not look great right now. So he met with the IDA to talk about incentive packages. He's probably gonna put in an application for a pilot, which he would qualify for the 485B. So we'll probably structure it similar to that we've done in the past with hotels and destination locations. Sales tax exemption. The project right now, with the bid prices, is like a $15 million project.
Is that a renovation or is it a brand
It's
new build?
everything, so it's we're trying to talk it into 2 phases so that you can maybe get in with the DRI for Catskill also. So the first phase would be HVAC, and sprinkler system and securing, making sure that the fire escapes are all safe.
Okay.
So that would be in phase 1, then phase 2 would be the renovations of all the rooms and maybe adding a floor.
Okay.
So there'll be a speakeasy in there, a restaurant, and then 29 units.
So the first phase is really just mechanical type stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And the second is a actual,
Build,
so in his first phase, after that first phase is done, is he gonna be able to rent rooms? Is that, I'm not that familiar with the building.
I don't think so, I don't think.
What's it look like on the inside?
Yeah, I haven't been.
The windows have been Mr. Catted for years
Yeah.
now,
Right, right.
yeah. And didn't he also buy the building on the other corner?
He does.
Yeah.
He owns
There's
the
2
bank building
buildings.
there, right? Yeah.
And he put in new windows.
The bank building, I think, is being rented out for a dispensary.
The old Culver building, right?
Yeah.
Is that,
The one where Mr. Cat is old Paul.
Right.
And then
And
he
I think he also
owns
bought
the
Kingsley,
theater.
didn't he? Did he buy Kingsley's offices next to
I don't
Culver's
know,
people?
the different buildings, I read an
That's
article
funny,
that he
some
owns like
place.
10 different.
Yeah.
but
buildings.
and I thought that if I'm thinking correctly, because he started work. Because he put in new windows, in the building that has
So we
Mr. Cat.
approved it, like secured the outside, so.
Yeah. No, I think that they were like historic, he must have had his permits to start, with zoning or planning and all that sort of stuff. But he's done nothing on the inside all that time?
I don't think so.
So it sounds like an application is gonna be forthcoming for
Yes.
a phase type project, is it, okay?
So I'm sending him.
I guess we'll look at
information.
that when it arrives and,
Mhm.
see what the ask is.
Maybe we should get a look inside, see what
That's probably,
he's
yeah.
doing.
See what the feasibility.
Because there has been quite a bit of activity there for nothing to be done.
I think so too. I mean, because they were historically appropriate windows. I can't say whether they were new, you know what I mean? It wasn't like he boarded them up to secure the building.
Right, right.
And so then the project stopped, and I think he actually owned it before COVID, yeah, several years before COVID. That's, I mean, but it
It's
is
been a
on the
while.
main,
Yeah, he has, he's been
Been a while.
there a while.
yeah, he's been there a while, so the financing part of this makes one wonder.
Well, we've asked to see budgets and performance and things like that, and try to get them in with the DRI for Catskill. It would be probably the biggest project.
Has Catskill been awarded a DRI?
Yeah.
No, but they're
So-
applying.
They're applying,
Okay.
and then next month, I think they start doing announcements. But what we've explained to Ben is it takes time for that money
Oh, sure.
to get to you, so.
There's like a year
that's why we're talking
planning
about
phase
phasing,
after
yeah.
the state announces whomever gets the award.
And you can't start work and like, you can't be like into the project and then apply. You have to wait for the money to be awarded to you, then do the work. So that's why we're talking about 2 phases. So if we started with a pilot and he could buy his supplies for the HVAC and the sprinkler system, that would be phase 1.
29 rooms there, huh?
He's trying to add the floor.
Yeah, because I imagine it was all apartments upstairs, right?
It was the offices of the title company.
Oh, that they were upstairs.
Salerno and his partner, Bouchard. Hudson River Abstract. It was Hudson River Abstract.
Oh, okay, all right.
On a side note, his father is the one that built the Cocoa Caves, the perfect day for Royal Caribbean. So when Ben was 12 years old, he went out with his dad. They were in a dinghy and the investors, and they went out to these like empty island, nothing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I went on Royal Caribbean in January, it's like one of the stops on the way home, but only Royal Caribbean cruise liners dock there.
Yeah.
So you have the whole island kind of just to the people who are on
Yeah.
the ships, and it's got like the tallest water features, water parks, and you know, the investors said it's crazy to do this big island. Wouldn't make your money back in 30 years, and you make it back in 2.
Okay.
So he does have some backing there.
Okay.
So that's why
Well,
we need to
yes,
see.
he has some, if he has
Some
backing, then he
family.
wouldn't be here for financing. Or he wouldn't be looking, just, he has
Right.
ideas.
Yes,
He
he's
has concepts.
many ideas, and he
Um,
does love Main Street Catskill, obviously, since he bought some properties. The movie theater, I told him it's probably too small of a project, like $1 million project, you know, the idea.
He owns the movie theater as well.
He owns the movie theater, he's renovating it to do theater, but local or bands, you know, eclectic, different music bands to be playing there. So he would draw from outside the county probably there as well, but it's a much smaller project, so we'll review it if he wants to put in 2 different applications, but I explained to him, you know, legal fees, public hearings, like everything's the same for a big project versus a very small project. But James is talking to him too about other brands.
Is he looking at a DRI as well for that
I
project?
believe he is, but they're meeting with the writers now.
Mhm.
That's the next step for them. So I will let you know if that progresses. I just wanted to let you know that we had that meeting. Jumping into parks, before we get to Gateway and Greene, I did get an update from Lynn Stanley people over in Green Business. They're gonna start working on repaving and cleaning the building. The paint project might get bumped to spring depending on the weather, but we've had some pretty nice weather. And they've already started cleaning up the entire interior building, demolition, lighting, painting. They're gonna start that in October and run through the winter. And they're going to be sending us a signed package for our review. The town does a review as well for signage. But we have deed covenants, so I asked them to send it to us first. So that's on Lynn Stanley.
Did you do Flintline Solar?
No, I'm sorry, I skipped over it. Paul and I met with representatives of Flintline Solar yesterday, and they are getting ready to move forward. So, Paul, did you want to give an update?
Yeah, we had there is no stay, so there was a notice of appeal filed. The date for the perfection, which is the break, would be February. And, so it looks like they're moving forward on it. Again, we won on that case, so that's the last one that's left. So, would be, February 2025 would be their date. I think, there was a decision in the fourth department, so they can file whatever appeal they want. I don't think it's gonna make a difference. And I've encouraged them to get going on it because, to start moving the project forward.
Okay. This is an article Sleepy Hollow puts out their newsletter. So they mentioned us again. Just want to keep the board aware.
Yeah.
Want to give Fred on, so.
The whole thing is pretty, it's kind of contrived erroneously that we should be giving a portion of the pilot money to them. They're not a governmental body. I gave an opinion to that effect. I think that, it's just the whole thing is kind of misplaced. So the point of this is that they're moving forward with this litigation kind of as a hammer to try to extract money, but we can't give away the county's money, can't give away either the school or the town's money. So we're kind of constrained. I've explained that to them 16 times. They have a theory, which I think was proven to be wrong. So we'll see where it goes. We'll just keep going with it. I've done, many of these things, so it should be fine.
On an aside, did folks see that the school district is looking to put a solar array in to generate income on unused property? I just found that interesting.
I think the school board did not really know that the school had commenced litigation against us. So I don't think there's a resolution that one will find in the record authorizing it. So that's their own problem.
Well, but no, I think that they're interesting. It's an interesting twist because I don't know that it's a bad idea, to be honest with you, to start monetizing property that's not going to be developed. I mean, that's.
If they get the funding from the
Right.
state, they can work fine.
Exactly.
They've been sitting on the land like 50 years.
And I don't know what the power bill
Well, I
is
hope
there,
those-
but it's not small.
Just
I
saying.
do, just waiting to see when the little developer comes in looking for a pilot.
Well, that's what would.
Call Randy for that meeting.
I was just saying, I don't know who does
They
solar.
could, because it's probably not paying taxes now. So what would they need?
Yeah, well, but if the school, so if the school owns the system, operates and maintains and manages, it's fine. But if the school enters into an agreement with a private entity who installs the system, operates and maintains and sells the power to the school, now it's subject to
Right.
taxation.
Yeah, there's no way they're gonna operate it themselves.
No. And it's just like, really, technically, this solar plant at the prison should be paying taxes. And Gordon's been pulling his hair out because, the state just tells you go pound salt, but technically,
Yeah.
the state is buying the power from a private enterprise that's got that built. Just like we put a pilot on ours, we did it the right way.
Right.
We put a little, not much, but we paid something. We're paying something.
So we'll go into executive session to discuss litigation.
Do you want to talk about the one resolution with the county?
So going into, Gateway Green, Commercial Park. So Stewart's ribbon cutting was on Friday. It was well attended, lots of legislators. It was lovely. Their building is beautiful. And then I did a walkthrough of the old Stewart's building. We have the keys. Paul is working on all the documents now for that deed transfer. Met with the engineer. The bids are getting ready to be awarded. We're going to talk about a resolution that is in your packet. Let's see, Catskill Lodging has completed their SWIP. They're going to include that with their site plan. They're going to be going to the town next. And Delaware Engineering, who we've hired to work on the 750 application, that's to get the hotel hooked up to sewer. But they are 100% still moving forward.
Is it me or does that seem to be slow?
It's really slow.
It is slow. So with what happened with Hilton, part of it is Hilton changed their format and their look. So we had to appeal to them that we could still stay with the same site plan that looked more Catskill Adirondack look, not the blue new modern look. So I did write a letter. I don't know what became of it, but it went to the corporate office. That's why the site plan hasn't finally gone to the town, because we're not sure if they're going to redo their site plan.
Maggie, it should be 3 meetings and, if you got your act together.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're a year from putting a shovel in the ground.
Yeah, the problem is with the developer's engineer. I talked to John Joseph last week who's the developer. And, he's like muddy boots type of guy, you know, and he's frustrated. He's like, I can't believe it. I've been working like this engineer for 26 years, he said. And now they're telling me they can't get the SWIP done for 2 months and they can't get this done. He goes, we're fully on board. So, you know, we're concerned because you haven't been back to the planning board yet. He goes, yeah, call me. And I know Delaware has told me they've had problems communicating, you know, with the engineer. If they contact him, he doesn't get, you know, looking for information for 750 permit. So according to John, that's where really all the problem lays right now, is they're just getting the engineers to develop what they need to make the next submission to the planning board. So.
So we need a motion to go on executive session.
Well, no, we have a resolution,
Throw this resolution.
so Paul has prepared this, county.
Okay, we have a resolution, before the board, kind of as a cleanup with the tourism center. So there was some stuff we found in the minutes, so I just wanted to put everything together in one resolution. So, we're approving a negative declaration for the project facility, which it's a small, about a 1 acre piece of property. The next portion of it confirms that it's a tourism destination pursuant to which it's within our jurisdiction. The next one confirms the acquisition from Stewart's. I've been holding the deed in escrow. I have that and about ready to record the same. I just wanted to get the DEC closure certificate and then we'll be all set that the tanks have been removed. The next piece of it, the next resolution on the top of page 2 confirms the agreement with the county pursuant to which we have to contribute $750,000 to the visitor center. It's our project, but they take the balance of the project. The next paragraph reaffirms and confirms the acquisition of that property from Stewart. So that's a charitable donation. So we have to sign what's called a charitable donation form. You know, if you've ever filed your tax return, if you give away property, there's a piece at the bottom called the donee acknowledgement. The next resolution approves the notice of award of contracts A through D. So the county's been kind of handling the bidding. And the next resolution approves the execution and delivery of the agency of the contracts. And then the final portion of the resolution appoints Warren Hart or another designee of the county administrator as the agent and clerk of the works. We kind of came to that because it may be easier to administer since the county has some of the bulk of the cost overrun over 750. So we'd let him kind of run with the project, be the clerk of the works. That way kind of pulls us out other than 750 and that we require the land. So that's the bulk of the resolution. And so that's, I don't want to go through it page by page, but that is what it says. So,
One correction is it's 720,000.
Yeah.
I know Ed Kaplan.
Yeah.
But it's 720,000. So I'll be working with Warren. He'll review the packages. There's going to be a site manager and an engineer from Catterskill down at the site. So that takes some of the work off me. And then once they approve the packages, then the board or Eric and Fred will sign off on me signing checks to pay it. Once we go over the 720,000, then it'll be similar to the Carroll work where we get reimbursed.
no, that was the
But I will track the
alternative with
finances. That's my
the bid
question.
alternative. So that's what it is.
Yes.
Go ahead, bid
Can we
alternative.
do these resolutions all in one mass?
Yeah, one resolution.
Okay.
It's supposed to be 102,000.
Yeah, 0. Yeah, so there's a correction on section 7, it's 102,000 with a 0, so that. So the resolution covers all of the things that, you know, this is one omnibus resolution.
Okay.
to Deal with it, so, if someone would,
I need a motion to make that resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, need a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to
I'll make that
executive
motion or.
session. Second. Those in favor? Aye. Tell us if you're.